Hello everyone and welcome to a very special episode of Cheap Fast Good. If you're new here, this is the show where we cook the same recipe 4 different ways. Cheap and fast, fast and good, good and cheap, and then finally at the end, with no restrictions whatsoever, we have rules for each of these categories. You can find them in the description of this video below. Today we are making a very special keto recipe. Now, full disclosure, I have absolutely no desire to go keto, at all. I love carbs so much. They're responsible for maybe 90% of the happiness in my whole life, with the other 10% being coffee and a good alcoholic drink, right? And also I love sugar in my coffee sometimes with milk and stuff. The point is, the lifestyle is not for me, but half of being a good cook is being a good host, and a good chunk of being a good host is knowing the dietary restrictions and choices of your guests. And I've had friends who have gone keto or who are keto, and so we're doing one episode for them. Today we are making protein power pancakes. The ingredients that we're using are gonna be right over there, and the recipe that I've adapted this from is gonna be posted in the description of this video below. All right, y'all, so for this crazy protein-packed adventure, we are going on over to Sprouts. Now, it turns out there are actually 2 protein powders you can buy in bulk at Sprouts. There's whey protein, and then there's pea protein. Pea protein is a whole lot cheaper than whey protein, so that's what I got. Then I went over to H-E-B and got this Hill Country Fare Greek yogurt for 62 cents, and then I got these super cheap eggs for $1.98. Finally, to cap it all off, I got this keto-approved imitation maple syrup for $8.98. Now, I already have baking powder in my pantry, but if I was to get a new container, it would cost me $2.78. And I also have imitation vanilla, but if I wanted to get a new bottle of that would have cost me $1.38. With the amount that I did have to pay, though, it came in at a total of $14.22. All right, so let's talk about how we're gonna assemble this, because this is gonna be a little bit rough. Some ingredients don't have units of measurement in the recipe, so I'm just gonna have to eyeball it. I'm gonna start off with a 1/4 cup of the pea protein powder and just put it in there. Also, the cheap Greek yogurt has 0 grams of fat. That is not gonna taste good, so I am gonna add to this recipe about a tablespoon of melted butter. So we've gone ahead and added that in. 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 egg, and I'm just gonna roughly add, a big spoonful of Greek yogurt, with maybe a small amount more. We'll go ahead and start whisking this together, and we'll just keep an eye on it and see how it looks. Definitely needs more liquid, so we'll go ahead and add a little more Greek yogurt. Yeah, right now, this is starting to look like biscuit dough, and I'm not sure it's gonna get any thinner no matter how much Greek yogurt I add. It may get to the point where I just start adding water. All right, I think this is about as thin as I can possibly hope for without the addition of water. So I'm gonna add a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. I'm gonna start heating up my skillet with my butter in it. You know what, let me just get every last bit of Greek yogurt that I can out of this container. And I think that is our final product. It's on the thicker side of a pancake batter. Let's go ahead and pour it in. Might even shake this around. Yeah, try to try to thin that out. All right, I am gonna try to flip it. Okay, it's a bit soft. Let's go. All right, not bad. Ooh, okay. Okay, let's see. If I flip you, oh no. Oh no, oh no. All right, I'm gonna go ahead, turn the heat off, let the residual heat do the rest of the cooking. Scoop that up, place that down. And that is roughly what we have for a pancake. All right, so let's just try this thing solo and see what this tastes like. Okay. You can obviously see by my face where I'm going with this. Texture-wise, it's not bad. Flavor-wise, no. I think the reason why the flavor is so bad with this is because there's so much yogurt in it, so there's so much acidity. If I'd done 2 eggs and less yogurt, I think I could have created something that kept mostly the same shape, but just tasted better. I'm gonna try this again. I'm gonna use 2 eggs and less yogurt and see what happens. All right, second attempt, and I have ended up with something much better. I've also spiced this, so I've added some cinnamon, some nutmeg, maybe a little more vanilla than I did last time, and this looks kind of like a regular pancake. So let's see if that translates into a better flavor. All right, my big concern though is that because this has so much more egg, I'm worried this might taste more eggy than anything else. Okay, much better. Wow, much better. Listen, is it a pancake? No. But if you wanted something like a pancake and you were on the keto diet, I don't think you'd be too disappointed with this. All right, hold up a minute, y'all, because like I said before, I am not into tracking my macros, but I know people who are. So I decided to enlist the help of my neighbors, Corey and Christine. These are lovely people who are much more interested in tracking their protein than I am, and any links to their social media or small business accounts will be in the description of this video. You two, you're used to be gym owners, but you're still like really active trainers. Yeah, like you still do that as a business. And you two are much more interested in tracking your protein than I am. You'll have the cheap and fast pancake in front of you. This is made with pea protein from Sprouts in the wholesale section. Some really cheap eggs, some really cheap Greek vanilla yogurt, and then you'll be using the cheap syrup. And as you may have heard, I did use vanilla flavored Greek yogurt this time instead of plain yogurt. You'll find out why I did this in a minute.
All right, let's do this taco style.
Oh, it's a little stiff, okay, a little hard.
All right, what do you think?
It's dry.
It's a little dry.
A little dry.
It's really
but
dry.
the flavor is okay. I think the vanilla is a little subtle. It tastes more eggy.
Syrup seemed very watery when it came out.
Now, if you were trying to like slam down as much protein in a day as possible, would you consider this to be like a worthy sacrifice to like a normal pancake?
I mean, I guess it would really depend on how much protein is in each serving for me to even consider
like
to
doing this.
do all the work to get that much protein for something that just tastes whack.
But we have our next category coming up with some notable different ingredients. So let's see what impact that has. All right, so for this recipe, we are starting out pretty expensive with this Ascent 100% whey protein powder for $52.99. Then I got this organic grass-fed Greek yogurt for $8.49. And then a carton of these super fancy organic eggs for $9.99. And then I decided to be extra and get this grain-free baking powder for $7.99. Finally capping it all off is this zero sugar maple syrup for $17.99. And that brings the grand total of this adventure to, good God, what the f***? So let's quickly go over what's different so that we can skip to the end. I have my Ascent protein powder here, a 1/4 cup, that I'll be adding 2 eggs into. This protein powder is vanilla flavored and it has sweeteners in it. So we're gonna see how that impacts the final product. Because it's vanilla flavored though, we don't need to add vanilla extract to it. And because my Greek yogurt that I'll be using has full fat in it, we also won't need to add butter to our batter. I'll just be adding butter to the pan. So I just realized I made a huge mistake. The Greek yogurt that I bought from the store is vanilla flavored as well. I'm gonna proceed as usual. Kind of am kicking myself that I made this huge oversight. But anyways, let's go ahead and see what happens. Now, because this is keto, let's take a look at carb content. This container says that there are 16 grams of carbs for every 3/4 of a cup of yogurt. We're using probably less than 1/3 of that. That means we're getting about 5 to 6 grams of added carbs to the batter. And with every batch of batter making 3 or 4 pancakes, that means you're getting about 1.5 to 2 grams of added carbs per pancake, which I think is allowable in this case. I am gonna spice my batter like I did last time with cinnamon and nutmeg. So with that out of the way, let's skip to the end. All right, so here we are at the end, and I have ended up with something that looks much different. Now, some notable differences while making it. This required over double the amount of protein powder in it to create the same consistency as pancake batter. What does that mean? Maybe with the Ascent powder, you're able to get more protein into each pancake, but I would say if you're a baker and you're on a keto diet, using unflavored pea protein might be better for you in making baked goods when you're wanting to sub out wheat flour. All right, so let's go ahead and try this just how it is and see. Oh my God, it's tough to cut into. All right, here we go. This is weird. It's like a halfway step between a pancake and a cracker. Ow. I'm not a fan of that. Ugh. The vanilla flavor and the sweetener in the protein powder does make it a little bit more palatable from a taste perspective. Oh, it's so dry on the inside. I almost want to cough. Ugh. Ugh. Let's continue and try with pancake syrup. This is so dry. Noticeable improvement in taste for sure. Big drop in texture. Because I made a mistake and bought vanilla-flavored Greek yogurt and I used a vanilla-flavored protein powder, I may try to retroactively adjust the cheaper recipe with some vanilla-flavored stuff and sweeteners in the batter to see if I can create something that's a little bit more of a fair comparison to this one. Overall, though, if I had to guess, I prefer the cheaper pancake. Even though the taste left something to be desired, I could work with that. I could add things to it. I could adjust it. There was more room to play as a cook. So yeah, in an unexpected twist for this channel, cheap and fast is so far winning out. All right, here's the Ascent one, and you can see it already looks like different.
It looks actually like an arepa.
And then, oh, real quick, you can now use the super $18 bottle of fake syrup. Okay, but so initial thoughts now.
I think I like this one less. It tastes powdery.
Yeah.
The vanilla flavor is overwhelming.
Because it's vanilla powder. It was using vanilla yogurt. Vanilla flavored Greek yogurt. But that's it. There is no other vanilla other than those two things.
That's a lot.
That's too much vanilla.
Oh yeah.
The taste is like putting your nose in the bag of protein and smelling. But it is way more like powdery.
Like it.
Powdery.
Yeah, very crumbly.
Do you need water?
I do.
Okay.
Rip a shot of the syrup just to get it down.
Okay.
Is there a real pancake involved in any of this?
Have you not tried the syrup yet?
I did. It's still, there's watery.
Not good.
No, not a fan of the $18 one.
No.
Actually,
No.
it's thicker,
No.
but it has a...
It's not. Is it thicker?
It is. It has a similar...
It seems like the money is not really mattering here. I'll take that as a silence as a telling.
I don't know. I have a whole thing unless if you're doing this because you're tracking things.
Throw both of these out?
I would just try to find a way to eat food that makes you happy.
All right, so let's talk about making our own yogurt. The process is fairly simple, but a little bit long. I've got some milk here. I'm gonna pour it into a pot and I'm gonna heat it up until it reaches 180 degrees Fahrenheit. After that, I'm gonna pour it into a glass bowl and let that cool down until it reaches 115 degrees Fahrenheit. And I may try to speed this process up by using an ice bath. While that's cooling down, I'm gonna take some towels and throw them in my dryer and let them go from 20 to 30 minutes or so. When the milk reaches temperature, I'm gonna take some of that milk and put it into a bowl with some Greek yogurt, stir that up, and then pour that mixture back into the bowl with the milk. Stir that up, make sure it's well incorporated, and then I'm gonna cover that bowl with the warm towels from my dryer. I'm gonna put the bowl and the towels into my oven to try to keep them at a warm temperature for up to 4 hours. All right, so it's actually been closer to 8 hours. You can tell because I'm no longer wearing my pajamas underneath my apron. Now, my dog is coming over here to block the oven door. Hi, buddy. The yogurt's been resting for a very long time. It's now time to dump it into a bowl with a strainer and a cheesecloth, and we're gonna let this rest in the fridge overnight. Tomorrow morning, it'll be nice and thick, and it'll be Greek yogurt. All right, let's go ahead and pour this out. Oh yeah, you can definitely see that. That is our yogurt. All right, this goes in the fridge and we come back tomorrow. All right, one night and one freshly shaven head later, we now have our yogurt done. It's been strained out in the fridge and it's nice and solid. If it's too solid, I have the liquid that was strained out. This is the whey. I can pour some of this back in to soften it up. But let's go ahead and flavor it with our imitation vanilla. I'm gonna do 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla to start with. I'm gonna take our keto approved sugar-free sweetener. Say that's good. And let's just start mixing it up. All right, so after adding enough vanilla and sweetener to taste, the yogurt has actually thinned out exactly as much as I wanted. So I didn't even need to add any of this. We'll go ahead and get that out of there. This stuff tastes really good. I can't say for certain whether or not it tastes as good or better than store-bought yogurt, but I think for a fact it is cheaper. All right, batter is done. Pan is heating up. Let's go ahead and make these pancakes. All right, y'all, my pancake is done. I'm gonna go ahead and scoop it out, and look how pretty it is. This is probably the best looking one we have done so far. No syrup, no nothing added. Let's try this out. It's still not a pancake, and it might taste a little bit eggy, but this isn't bad. The texture is nice. The flavor is definitely better. It needs sugar, so let's go ahead and add our toppings. Or I shouldn't say it needs sugar, it needs sweetness. Wow, this is pretty good. Since we have so much yogurt, it really only makes sense for us to put some of that on top and put a little bit more syrup on top of it as well. God, okay, that bottle. All right, so let's try this out. This is a very significant step in the right direction. This next one should be better.
How many are there?
16.
Oh, you made yogurt.
I made yogurt.
Did you make Greek yogurt?
I did make Greek yogurt.
You strain it?
Yes, I did.
So this already looks more like a pancake that we would see from like IHOP or, you know, like, it looks more like a traditional pancake.
This one's better.
I like the texture better. It's fluffier.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's more moist inside.
Yeah.
Okay. I know that word's a trigger for some people, moist. Can we slow that down? Moist. No, I'm kidding.
I like that it's not sweet.
You like that it's not sweet?
There's no flavor. Not like it's flavorless, but it tastes more like a pancake.
So we're getting closer to pancake territory.
Yeah.
The only difference between this one and the first one is the yogurt I made myself. You are eating it without any syrup. You seem to be
because you don't have any real syrup.
Yeah.
I'm not.
You are not a fan of the syrups at all.
I'm putting sugar sauce on.
Now, you might be thinking that with all that I've done, we couldn't possibly do anything else. And you'd be right, actually. There's really not much more I can do with this recipe. I looked up whether or not I could make my own protein powder because I'm crazy like that. And I can't. You need like industrial grade equipment to do that. But there's probably 1 or 2 things I could do to this recipe to improve upon this just a little more. So let's do that. And guess what? I could even do them right now. So for this part, I decided to make my own almond flour. I took some blanched slivered almonds and put them into this dry grains blender that's part of my Vitamix setup. I blended and sifted them twice over until I finally got things down into a nice powder, and just like that, I had almond flour. I mixed some of this into the leftover batter from my previous batch, mixed it up, and there we go. All right, pancake is done. Go ahead and turn this over. Oh, look at that. Look how pretty that is. Ooh, it's noticeably fluffier on the inside, I think. Oh. Okay, the almond flour does something very important here. The pea protein powder is completely unflavored. And in all the other versions, sometimes you would bite into a piece of pancake that had like no syrup on it, no nothing, and all you would taste was the pea protein. And I know it may sound unpleasant to taste nothing, but trust me, it was not good. This adds some very subtle flavor to everything. Let's go ahead and add our syrup. This is our expensive syrup, by the way. More almond flour next time. That's good.
I like to smell them first.
Yeah.
Ooh, does this one have cinnamon?
Yeah, it smells like cinnamon.
Yeah, I mean, they've all had cinnamon.
Really?
All of them have had cinnamon and nutmeg.
This one I could smell. This one doesn't need sugar.
Does the almond flour do anything differently?
I wouldn't know it was almond flour.
You wouldn't know? Okay.
But I think the consistency is pretty okay.
Do you taste anything different between this one and this?
Yeah, you could taste the spice.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, you can smell and taste the spice more.
Interesting.
Which is cozy.
I like that it's fluffy.
Maybe the almond flour allows like the spices to like breathe a little more.
I like this one, but I think I prefer the taste of the third one.
The third one, okay.
But just because that one's more neutral.
So final verdict. Out of the 4, which is the winner?
I think the third.
I like the number 3.
Number 3, okay.
Number 3 would come in first. Number 4 would be a second.
Uh-huh.
The other two just
The other two, like, yeah, I don't know.
So, okay, lessons learned and bottom line. This right here can still be improved, but it's getting closer and closer to a regular old pancake that tastes great and that has high protein, low carb. All right, y'all, that is it. So if you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe if you aren't subscribed. If you're on the keto diet, let me know. Do you have suggestions for this recipe, or would you try this recipe? Please let me know. And with all of this out of the way, until we see each other again, go cook something amazing, and I will see you next time. I feel like a newborn. Is anybody else rediscovering how good 90s rock was?